Why is it that the second that a man gets angry, he's suddenly the villain? Not abusive, not violent, just angry. Just fed up, just done playing along. That's all it takes, and suddenly the whole system turns on you. It's your ex calling you unstable. It's her lawyer framing you as a threat. It's the judge side eyeing you in court, right? It's the CPS worker making notes about your tone. It's the therapist saying that you need to regulate better. It's the school calling you concerning. It's HR labeling you as intimidating, or it's social media. People on social media just posting comments calling you toxic. I mean, that's the point. You're not allowed to be angry, because the reason is because your anger threatens their control. And when I say their and they, I'm not being esoteric or vague here. I'm talking about the system. I'm talking about the people who benefit from your silence. Call them who what you will. I'm talking about your ex who wants full control. Talking about the courts that don't want to hear your side of the story. And I'm talking about the current culture that wants you docile. I'm talking about everyone who sees calm, compliant men as healthy and honest, angry men as dangerous. From the moment that you're a boy, you're taught that anger is dangerous, because anger is in the, I guess it's because anger, you can't spell dangerous without anger, right? So, yeah, I mean, you hear this all the time. I heard this all the time as a child. Control yourself, calm down, be nice, use your words, don't lash out. But what they really mean when they say that is, don't make them uncomfortable. Don't threaten the narrative. Don't be hard to manage. That's the thing. Society needs you to be manageable, right? Especially if you're a man. Because here's what they never tell you. When you're a man and you're calm, people generally ignore you. And when you're emotional, they shame you. And then when you're angry, they fear you. So with that said, what are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to bury it, hide it? Do you become agreeable and non-threatening like they want? Do you just nod when you want to say no? Do you smile when you want to scream? Do you self-regulate until there's nothing left to regulate? You been there? But here's the thing, that doesn't make you better. It doesn't. It just makes you invisible. And let's just stop pretending. Anger isn't bad. It isn't. All anger is information. It's a signal. It's your system going, hey, yo, dude, something's not right. Hey, you've been lied to. You've been humiliated. You've been ignored. You've been disrespected. Hey, buddy, you've been pushed way past your limit for the 5th time this week, and everyone's acting like you're the problem because you finally spoke up about it. That is not dysfunctional. That's you just have mental clarity. You're human. Carl Jung talked about this, bro dead. But yeah, so he said everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. But he also warned, on the flip side, that when we ignore anger, when we don't listen to it, it doesn't disappear. It doesn't magically just poof, gone. It sticks around. It goes underground. It becomes the shadow. And people throw around the word shadow a lot. Usually just a lot of people have the idea that it's just your bad traits, but it goes way deeper than that. So the shadow it's everything that you were told not to be. It's the stuff that you had to hide to survive. Right? It's whatever you put a mask over it to be, presentable, approvable, like to be approved by people, to be accepted. But yeah, I mean, you got loud and they called it threatening. So, boom. You set a boundary and they called it controlling. Boom. Expressed anger, or no, you expressed pain. They called it weakness. Or yeah, you were angry. You got angry for some reason, and then they decide to label that as dangerous. You showed strength, and then they said that was toxic. And after all of that, what did you do? Well, what you did was you shoved it all down. You wore the nice guy mask, right? You told people what they wanted to hear. Not what you wanted to say, what they wanted to hear. You played along, you overcorrected, right? Tried to be safe, to be respectable, to be mature, And now you don't even know who you are anymore. Because the real you got locked in the basement of your psyche while the mask ran your life. That's the shadow. And it's not evil, it's exiled. And the more that you suppress it, the more it builds pressure. That's why men snap. And it's not because they're monsters. It's because they've been silenced and controlled and denied for years by their ex, by the courts, by therapists, by experts, by everyone. And that's why it's really important that you face your shadow. I'd say at least in your 30s, and definitely before you get into your mid 40s. Start facing it in your 30s. I'd say mid to late. I didn't face mine until my late 30s, but I watched a video the other day, and the guy talked about how it's really good to. He doesn't mention doing it in your 20s. I think he mentions it doing like in your early to mid 30s, and no later than like mid 40s, because then you have this crazy midlife crisis crash out event. So you don't want to be that guy. But but let's set the record straight here. So anger and violence are not the same thing. That distinction needs to be made, because a lot of people conflate the two. Right? So anger is a feeling and violence is an action. So, and just because you feel angry doesn't mean you're going to hurt someone. But also, there's an uncomfortable truth with this. Sometimes violence is justified. And I don't mean by lashing out and being abusive. I'm talking about self-defense. I'm talking about protecting what's yours. I'm talking about drawing a line that can't be crossed. That's what I'm talking about. So the system wants to treat all anger the same. All of it. It's all under one umbrella. It's just this giant red flag. But it's not. There is reckless rage, and then there's righteous anger. And if you've ever been, you're human, so if you've ever been betrayed or felt like you've been discarded or alienated or erased, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Exactly what I'm talking about. And Nietzsche, he didn't run from this stuff either. He understood anger. He understood it as a component of power. He said, man does not strive for happiness. Only the Englishman does that. Man strives for power. And power, it doesn't mean control over others. It means control over yourself. It means strength with boundaries. It means fire with direction, right? The modern world shames masculine strength and turns men into obedient consumers. Just, all nice and doughy and passive and silent and apologetic. you know. But Nietzsche warned that when you moralize power, when you make masculinity bad, in return you don't create peace. What you create is resentment and weakness, and you create collapse, like we're seeing today in the West. So let's stop sugarcoating it. This is the kickers. Women are allowed to be angry. Huh? How about them apples? Women are allowed to be angry. It's actually encouraged. Speak your truth, queen. Slay. Set boundaries. Don't let anyone silence you. Get yours. But if you're a man, calm down, bro. Dude, you're overreacting. Man, you need therapy. So let me get this straight. So she can lie about you in court, take your kid, drag your name through the mud, and if you show any emotion in response to that, you're the one who's dangerous. Dude, that's a setup. Your ex knows it. Your lawyer or her lawyer knows it. The system knows it. And they'll exploit it to the last drop of your blood. Let me put this in plain language. Your ex cuts you out of your child's life. CPS says it's not enough to intervene. The judge doesn't care because you didn't file paperwork exactly the right way. Her lawyer plays games and lies. You get 2 hours with your kid while she takes him on vacations with some guy calling him dad. And then everyone tells you to be mature and not get angry. No, you should be angry. If you're not angry, you've been broken down way too far. Way too far. Your anger means that you still care. It means your soul hasn't gone completely numb yet. You want to know what matters to a man? If you want to know what matters to a man, look at what makes him angry. Look at what makes him angry. Anger doesn't make you dangerous. Repressing it does. You got two choices, right? Let your anger fester and let it turn into bitterness and depression and numbness. Or face it head on and channel it into power. Carl Jung said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." Your anger is a part of you. It's true. It doesn't make you a threat. It makes you real. It makes you real. And let's be clear, the system fears angry men. Because we can't be controlled once we stop apologizing for how we feel. When a man owns his anger, he starts telling the truth. He revolts against the system. They don't want that. They don't want fighting age men being able to fight back. That's what we're seeing today in our society. But yeah, when a man owns his anger, he starts telling the truth. He stops begging for approval. He stops obeying. They don't want that. He walks away from the bullshit. He stops letting the therapist talk down to him. He stops pretending that court orders are fair. He stops letting people lie about him without a response. Angry men stop complying. And that's what the system fears more than anything. Anything. That's why they structured the educational system the way that it is. They want obedient workers. They don't want thinkers. They want you to be docile and compliant, Work your 9 to 5, keep your head down, pay your taxes, don't ask questions. That's what they want. Now, I'm not telling you to blow up your life, okay? I'm not telling you to do that. I'm telling you to stop being ashamed of your anger. If you're angry, good. It means you're still alive and that your boundaries are intact and your conscience isn't dead. You're not dead inside, man. But don't let it own you. Don't let the anger own you. You need to own it. Let it become clarity and strength and truth. Because once you realize this world was built to silence you, you'll understand exactly why they want your anger gone. So yeah, dude, stay angry, man. Stay grounded. And for the love of God, stop apologizing for being awake.